This video is to help you with question 4 on your first CR. This problem is similar to the one on your actual CR. I'm just using different numbers. It says compare absolute value of 3 and absolute value of -8. So again, to review, you know the symbols around the 3. That stands for absolute value of 3. And then these symbols around the 8, -8, stand for absolute value of -8. And just remember, absolute value represents your distance from 0. Absolute value is the distance that number is from 0. That's what absolute value means. So absolute value of 3 means how far is 3 from 0? Oh, 3 is 3 units, happens to be to the right of 0. So the absolute value of 3 is 3. Absolute value of -8 means how far is -8 from 0? Oh, -8 is 8 units from 0, just happens to be to the left. So what's that distance? 8 away from 0. -8 is 8 away from 0. So the absolute value of -8 is 8. Because absolute value represents a distance, that's why we're getting positive values out of here. You're not going to have a negative distance. All right, so let's read it over. So we know absolute value of 3 is 3. Absolute value of -8 is 8. So as I look at these and I want to compare them, absolute value of 3 and absolute value of -8. Well, absolute value of 3 we know is 3. Absolute value of -8 we know is 8 because it's 8 units to the left of 0. So what we really want to do is compare these. Well, 3 is less than 8. 8 is greater than 3. So the absolute value of 3 is less than the absolute value of -8. All right, let's take a look. So this says the absolute value of 3 is greater than the absolute value of -8. Well, absolute value of 3 is 3. Is that greater than? Absolute value of -8 is a positive 8. 3 is not greater than 8. It's less than 8. It says because any positive number is greater than a negative number. Well, actually, this represents a positive 3, and this represents a positive 8. Therefore, we're talking about both of these values are positive numbers. Absolute values are distances, so those are both actually, final answer would be positive numbers. A is not correct. So let's see. Absolute value of 3 is less than absolute value of -8. Well, let's just double check. Absolute value of 3 is 3. Is that less than absolute value of -8 would be an 8. And you notice once we do that, we no longer write these straight lines down. We no longer write our absolute value symbols once we actually evaluate it, because a distance of 3 units from 0 is less than 8 units from 0. Exactly. Here's 0. If I go over here to like a positive, oops, sorry about that. I just got to go back to the last slide. My bad. If I go over here to like a positive 10, this would be a positive 5. So your positive 3 is maybe like right around there. I don't know. Then on the other side, that's about a -10. This right here would be a -5. Here's -8 right around there somewhere. So the distance from 0 to 3 is 3 units. And the distance from 0 over to -8 is 8 units. So when it says absolute value of 3 is less than absolute value of -8, because a distance of 3 units from 0 is less than a distance of 8 units from 0. That's exactly correct. These two things are not equal. 3 does not equal 8. And here, 3 is not greater than 8. Those don't have a shot. All right. Hopefully that helps. The key is you have to understand absolute value represents a distance, just how far you are from 0. So the absolute value of a -8 is 8 because it's 8 units from 0. Absolute value of 3 is 3 because that's 3 units from 0. I hope that helps.